Okay, so good evening everybody. Thank you for coming to my second lecture. Some of you were present at the first one about snakes, some others were not. And for the ones who were here, well, this one looks very similar. I chose to maintain the same organization, but the topic is different because today we're gonna talk about other animals that I like pretty much a lot. Crocodiles. So, well, as the title says, get ready for some croc and roll. First of all, let's start with the same old question. What do you know about crocodiles?
Oh, I know that they eat people in Australia.
Yeah, but that's, as we will see later, that's not a good point to start.
Oh.
They're really old. They have been around
Definitely
for thousands of years.
Okay, they're huge lizard with huge teeth.
Lizards? Really?
Well, flat, big lizards. Come on.
Well, actually, this is a very common misconception. Crocodiles are more related to birds than to lizards, actually.
Birds.
They are the closest living relatives of birds because they are both part of the Archosauria clade. And more interestingly, the Archosauria clade was the same that included all the non-avian dinosaurs before their extinction, of course. While lizards are much more closely related to snakes than to crocodiles. Anyway, the thing that crocodiles and lizards have in common is that they belong to the class of the reptiles. They are, well, all crocodilians are carnivorous. There are only 24 extant species of crocodilians. Actually, maybe, I'm not sure if 24 or 25 or 26, because the last time I checked was a couple of years ago, so maybe some new species were discovered. So, they are diffused in tropical and subtropical regions. Most, as you can see here, you can find them in Africa, South America, Southeast Asia, India, Northern Australia, and Central America. And yeah, as you said, Patricia, they are really, really old. Their first ancestors appeared as early as 250 million years ago, so they are even older than the dinosaurs. But the crocodiles that living today, the clade Crocodilia, originated about 83 million years ago. So here you see a picture of the Orinoco crocodile, which lives in this area in the basin of the Orinoco River in Colombia and Venezuela. It is one of the largest crocodiles. It can reach 6 meters in length, and as many other animals we will see, we're gonna meet later during the lecture, it is a critically endangered species because its distribution is already only covers a very small area by itself, and then habitat destruction and illegal hunting have pushed this species on the verge of extinction. So, well, as so far I have referred to all these animals as crocodiles, but actually, taxonomically speaking, this term is not correct because crocodiles, from a scientific point of view, are only one of the three families that make up the crocodilians, which should be the correct scientific term. The other two are the gharials, the family Gavialidae, which include 2 species, and the alligators and caimans, both part of the family Alligatoridae, with 2 species of alligators and 6 of caimans. When it comes to crocodiles, we have 14 species of them, and they all belong to the family Crocodilidae. So let's start with them, with the crocodiles. 14 species, as I said, they live in Central and South America, although caimans and alligators are much more common in those areas. All of Africa, south of the Sahara Desert, Southeast Asia and Oceania. Crocodiles are mostly freshwater animals, but many of them can tolerate life in saltwater ecosystems to different extents. It depends on the species. And one of their distinctive characteristics is the fact that their snout is very large around the neck, but then it becomes narrower when it gets closer to the nose. So this is one of the main things that allows us to distinguish crocodiles from the other members of the crocodilian group. So here you see two of the most famous crocodiles, the Nile crocodile, which can be found all around Africa, literally from southern Egypt to South Africa. It reaches about 6 meters in length, and yeah, it preys mainly on fish and mammals of any kind, from rodents to zebras, even buffaloes for the largest specimens. And here you see the saltwater crocodile, the largest reptile in the world. It can reach 7 meters in length, maybe even 8, and weigh as much as 1.5 tons. It lives in eastern India, all around Southeast Asia and northern Australia. It can cover very large distances in salt water, so it can migrate from Australia to Asia pretty easily. And yeah, it feeds on fish, large mammals and other reptiles. But actually, the crocodile that you see here is not just any saltwater crocodile. This specimen was caught in the Philippines in 2011. It was 6.1 meters long and it weighed about 1 ton. It was the largest crocodile to be ever kept in captivity. His name was Lolong. He sadly died out of a pulmonary infection in 2013. But yeah, it is still the largest crocodile ever kept in captivity. Although there are even larger saltwater crocodiles in the water, most probably. Then we have the alligators with 2 species, the American alligator and the Chinese alligator. The American alligator is the most common crocodilian in the North American continent. And you can find it throughout in the southern part of the United States, from Florida to southern Texas. It feeds on fish, turtles, mammals and birds of any kind basically, and it reaches 5 meters in length. And while the Chinese alligator is much smaller, it never gets longer than 2 meters, but usually even smaller, 1.5. It is another critical endangered species for the same reasons as the Orinoco crocodile, basically, habitat destruction and illegal hunting. It can only be found in a small area near, in the basin of the Yangtze River in China. So how can we tell apart an alligator from a crocodile? Well, you see the snout of the alligator is much not larger, but it has a round shape almost, so it's much wider, that's the term, than that of a crocodile. And also, the geographical distribution. There is only one area in the world where alligators and crocodiles live together, and that's one island in the Florida Keys, below Florida, where the American alligator and the American crocodile, which we'll see, which we're going to see later, actually live together. Then caimans, which are part of the same family of alligators. There are 6 species of caimans, and they only live in the South American continent. So they live in tropical forests and swamps all around South America. They are mostly pretty small crocodilians, except for this one, but we're going to talk about it in a little bit. Here you see one of the most common ones, the Yacare caiman from the Pantanal region. So the Pantanal is the largest swamp in the world, basically. It goes from southwestern Brazil to northwestern Argentina. I took this picture once I was traveling there for 4.5 years ago. Those were the days. This caiman, there are about 10 millions of these caimans in the Pantanal region. It's one of the most common crocodilians in the world, one of the largest crocodilian populations in the world. This caiman averages 2 meters, maybe 2.5, and it feeds on fish, small mammals and birds. While here you see the black caiman, which is the largest of all caimans. It rivals with the American alligator for the title of largest member of the alligator family. It can reach 5 meters as well. It can be found in central South America in the Amazon basin. And it feeds on, it can feed on larger prey than smaller caimans such as the yacare. Then the gharials, maybe the most peculiar crocodilians, at least aesthetically. We have 2 species. They live in India and Nepal and part of Indonesia. You see it. Their most characteristic feature is the extremely elongated and narrow snout. Like here, it is very long. because this conformation is particularly suited for hunting fish. Also, their teeth are smaller than those of other crocodilians, but sharper, so they can grab fishes and not let them slip away, basically. Even though it is only fish, the gharial, it's a really large crocodile, and it can reach 7 meters, like the saltwater crocodile. And yeah, it can be found in Pakistan, northeastern India, and part of Nepal. It mainly feeds on fish, and it is yet another critically endangered species. Actually, there is a very interesting TED talk by one of the most eminent herpetologists in the world, Romulus Whitaker, who has been living and working in India for decades now. And he basically stresses the importance of preserving, of protecting the environment by taking as examples this animal and the king cobra, which we have already encountered in the lecture about snakes. Then here you see the false gharial, the so-called false gharial, which is much smaller. It doesn't grow beyond 4 meters. You can find it mainly in Indonesia, especially in the islands of Sumatra, Borneo, and Java. It has the same diet as the gharial, and curiously, the name false gharial is due to the fact that for many years, scientists have thought that this animal belonged to the family of crocodiles, even though it's not resembled those of gharials, so they called it false gharial. But recent studies have shown that it's actually a true gharial, so the name hasn't changed, but you know, it can be included in the family of gharials. So now that we have seen, that we have had a general overview of how crocodiles are classified, let's dig a bit deeper and mention some of the most interesting facts about crocodilians. Well, the main thing that that comes into mind when you think about a crocodile is its mouth, basically. So, and no wonder, because crocodilians deliver some of the most powerful bites in nature. I think the bite power of the saltwater crocodile is only rivaled by that of the great white shark. And yeah, the muscles that close their jaws are extremely powerful. But interestingly, the ones that open their jaws are not. So you could easily keep the mouth of a crocodile closed with your bare hands. But yeah, when the mouth of a crocodile if the mouth of a crocodile would close up on my head, it could basically squeeze it like a bunch of grapes, if it wanted to. Again, yeah, they can break turtle shells and bones with relative ease. It depends on the species, of course. Larger crocodiles are obviously have an advantage in this sense. And yeah, their teeth, as we have seen with the gharials, help them keep hold of the prey. Here you see another crocodile about to eat a wild beast. This is a very large crocodile, as you can see from the comparison. Yeah, and why do crocodiles need such powerful bites? Well, to eat, obviously, they eat anything they can overpower. There's not that much to say about that. Usually, they ambush their prey, especially when they hunt animals that predominantly live on land rather than fish. So, for example, the Nile crocodile you see here eating Thompson's gazelle. Nile crocodiles, maybe you have seen some documentaries, hide underwater and wait for some animals to approach the water to drink, and then they rush out of the water, grab the animals, and take them in with them. But actually, crocodilians can survive for large amounts of time without eating. For example, the Nile saltwater crocodile can survive even for 1 year without eating any food. And yeah, many crocodiles share their habitat with other, let's say, super predators such as sharks or lions, tigers, or anacondas. In most cases, there is mutual predation between the crocodiles and these animals. It depends on the size of either one of them. For example, here you see a saltwater crocodile eating this bull shark. But in cases where the shark is much larger than the crocodile, the shark is the crocodile, of course. Same goes for a tiger or for a lion or whatever. Yes?
I think last week, I don't know if you saw, there was like a video or a picture of like this huge snake, like I mean massive, eating a crocodile.
Oh yeah, it happens. Anacondas eat caimans in South America, and also
Like, it's insane.
pythons can eat crocodiles both in Africa and Asia. So yes, very large snakes can eat crocodiles as well.
How long does it take such a big snake to digest an entire crocodile?
It can even take 1 month
Oh my god.
just to digest it. Yes.
Like, the snake is able to like take in like the whole body,
Yes. Yes.
like, and then it just like you can see like the alligator or the crocodile,
Alligator, yeah.
or whatever it is, like inside.
Does it
You can see like,
Yes, you
Yes,
see
and
that.
then-
You see that.
and then I think, do they excrete it or do they like the bones?
They basically just digest everything. So yeah, they do excrete residues, but very little because they basically absorb. They basically digest everything.
Yeah. That's so crazy.
Another characteristic feature of the eating habits of crocodilians is the so-called death roll. Because yeah, the crocodilians cannot rip off flesh from the dead prey just by pulling it, because they would just drag it around, and they can't use their legs for it because they are too small. So they can't hold the prey with their legs. So to rip off meat, they just bite the prey, the victim, and they start spinning on themselves very fast, so that at a certain point the meat just detaches from the body of the prey. You see here now crocodiles doing this. They're just rotating on themselves until they manage to get some flesh off. You see them eating a zebra now. And yeah, another thing is many times when one crocodile kills a large prey, many other crocodiles gather and try to fight for food basically. This is only one zebra, and all those crocodiles are eating the same prey. Then crocodilians are mostly aquatic animals. So how do they swim? They mainly use their tail for it. The movement of their tail propels them in the water. They also have a very hydrodynamic shape. As you can see here, they oppose little resistance to water when they swim. Here you see an American crocodile, not to be confused with the American alligator. They are two completely different species. The American crocodile mainly lives in Central America, especially in Mexico, and also in the Caribbean islands. It can tolerate salt water as much as the saltwater crocodile, basically. It feeds on fish, mammals, birds, and other reptiles. Yeah, and it's also a pretty large animal. It can reach 5 meters in length. Another characteristic, when we think about crocodilians, we usually imagine them like this, so completely submerged in water, except for their eyes and nose. And they do this because they want to be aware of what happens around them in the surface to individuate prey and possible threats and etc. So yeah, this is a mother crocodile, which is diffused in India, all around India, but also in Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and there is even a population in southern Iran. It is a pretty large animal as well. It goes to 5 meters in length. And actually, crocodiles, and I forgot to say, they can remain underwater for very long times. Many species can hold their breath for 1 full hour before they have to come to the surface again to breathe. Yeah.
How fast do they swim?
They can be very fast. They can be really fast. As clumsy as they are on land, so agile and fast they are underwater. Because the muscles, their tail muscles are insanely powerful, so they can go really fast underwater.
But like, I went to a crocodile. Oh no, I was in Florida, near like the Texas border, or actually Florida doesn't border onto Texas, but in that direction. So like to the northwest, and I went to a crocodile farm, I think, and they said that alligator farm, sorry,
Alligator farm, yeah.
Yeah, and they said that alligators can actually run up to 30 kilometers per hour on land.
Yes,
and they can
can.
chase you, and that there's a certain technique that you have to use in order to get rid of them.
Wow, oh god, I don't, well...
No, I know what it is. So you have to run for like 25 yards or something, and then at a 90-degree angle you have to turn again and then run for another 25 yards. And you have to keep doing that, but you have to run at least 25 yards before you turn, otherwise they can keep up with you, but it's the
How
turning.
much is that? 25
Is it like the exact of the time?
Yeah, I don't know how much 25, I'm not sure.
Well, I actually find it pretty strange because it is definitely true that crocodiles can reach a considerable, some crocodilians at least can reach considerable speeds on land as well, but they, in most cases, they do not hunt on land.
No.
They are not just built for that. So
Yeah.
an alligator chasing you for more than 25 yards, I think that's pretty unlikely
Yeah,
to
but
to
also
happen.
with alligators, it's more the crocodiles that are more aggressive and that will attack you, whereas the alligators will go away.
Yeah,
That's what
it
they
also depends very much on the species. Also, there are 24 species of crocodilians, so yeah, it's very difficult to say, okay, alligators do that and crocodiles do this. It always depends on the cases. Then something cuter, maybe, the parental caring in crocodilians. So all crocodilians reproduce by laying eggs, and the female builds a nest where she lays her eggs and guards it until they hatch. And once the babies are born, they call the mother from the nest by producing a characteristic sound, which she perceives, and then she comes and takes them in her mouth and carries them into the water. So this crocodile is not eating her baby. She's just holding it in their mouth until they reach water. And so the babies stay around the mother until they grow enough to survive on their own, hopefully. Actually, many baby crocodilians die in their very early in life because they are an easy prey for birds, for large fish, for mammals, for snakes, whatever. So here you see a female saltwater crocodile carrying a baby in her mouth. And here, actually, you see an exception to what I said before, because this is a male odile gharial with all his babies on his back, basically. So you can tell that it's a male because male gharials have a much larger nose than females. So the gharial, yeah, it is indeed an exceptional case because the males contribute to parental caring, basically, which doesn't happen that often in crocodilians. Then, so far we have seen only pretty large animals, such as the saltwater crocodile, which is the largest reptile in the world, and also all the other crocodilians we have seen, except maybe for the Chinese alligator and the yakari caiman, all grew longer than 4 meters. But some crocodilians are actually really, really small. You see here the dwarf crocodile from Central Africa, the Central African rainforest. It reaches only 2 meters in length, and yeah, it eats small mammals, fish, and crustaceans. Well, here you see the smallest crocodilian in the world, the Cuvier dwarf caiman from the Amazon basin, a very common crocodilian as well. It doesn't grow longer than 1.5 meters, but it usually averages only 1, so it's a very tiny animal. That's so cute, aren't they? Yeah, so we have seen these very small crocodilians, and yeah, the contrast with the giant saltwater crocodile is pretty startling, but even a giant saltwater crocodile like Lolong, the one we have seen before, would literally pale in comparison to them. Yeah, these are the skulls of 2 prehistoric crocodilians. Oh, this here is the skull of an odile night crocodile. Do I even need to say anything else? Actually, yes, because I bet that once you see this picture, you want to know more about this prehistoric juggernaut here. So This guy is the Sarcosuchus. Yeah, its skull is compared to that of the Nile crocodile, which is the second largest crocodile in the world. So the Sarcosuchus could grow up to 13 meters in length, nearly twice as the largest crocodilians do today. It lived in northern Africa, in what is now the Sahara Desert, but a very long time ago the Sahara Desert was actually a very fertile and swampy area, so that monsters like the Sarcosuchus could thrive there. It fed mainly on fish, aquatic reptiles, and even though some people think that it actually preyed on dinosaurs, well, look at its skull. What does it look similar to some of the other animals we have seen before?
Looks like fish, you know, like those.
Yeah, it looks very similar to a gharial. So many researchers actually think that the Sarcosuchus mainly fed on fish rather than very large prey such as dinosaurs. It lived in the early Cretaceous period, so about from 115 to 110 million years ago. A bit more recent was the Deinosuchus, a giant alligator. You see here, this is the skull of a saltwater crocodile, again. So, yeah. The length is very similar to that of the Sarcosuchus, about 11 meters, even though some recent findings suggest that Deinosuchus could grow as much as 15 meters in length, but that is still a matter of ongoing debate. So the Deinosuchus lived in modern North America, where the American alligator lives now, in late Cretaceous, so 80 to 73 million years ago, and actually researchers basically agree that it definitely preyed on even large dinosaurs, maybe even on the T-Rex that lived in the same area. We can't be sure about that, but they shared the same habitat, so maybe they came across sometimes. So this is the last slide of our lecture. I hope you enjoyed it as you did with the lecture on snakes. So once again, thank you very much.
Where were the pictures taken from the fossils? Like, do you know which museum that is in?
Sorry?
You know what museum that is in? Or
Actually not. I don't. Well, I don't know now. I can tell you once I look at the pictures once again, but no, I can't recall it now.
Cool.
I was in not a zoo, but it was kind of like a zoo, but only for water animals in the south of the U.S. And there was, I think, an albino.
Oh yeah, there are the leucistic and albino alligators, or mostly with alligators. I don't know with crocodiles it doesn't happen that much, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was an alligator. But do you know if those are common in the wild? Because
no.
It lived
albino
like
animals usually die very early in life in the wild because they basically think about what we said before. Crocodiles basically hunt by ambushing their prey, so they need to not be seen.
Yeah.
And when you are white and you are surrounded by brown and green stuff, well, it's pretty easy to see you. So even for predators, when you are a baby, so in the wild, albino animals usually don't survive very long.
It was also quite small. Like I want to say it was like this big or something like that. And then also, so when I was at that crocodile farm, there was like some kind of. It was like a really sketchy place actually. Like they had a couple of crocodiles and then they took us on one of those swamp tours and we actually saw, alligators. We saw an alligator. But they also had like a special visitor, so to say. So there's this guy who lives like in Texas, or I'm actually not sure, Mississippi or something. And he actually has his own alligator that he raised from like birth onwards. And his name is Bubba, and he's like a tame alligator, and like he takes Bubba to like retirement homes and hospital. Well, maybe not hospitals. And he puts
surprise motherfucker.
Bubba's like 2 meters long, and he like puts them in like old people's like beds and they like hug him and stuff. And also people, no, I'm not
Well,
kidding. There's-
I did that in Egypt with a small Nile crocodile actually. So yes.
But this, I mean, he didn't have anything around like his snout or anything.
Yeah,
He was just
exactly.
like,
I mean,
he was just like chilling.
crocodiles
Yeah,
can be very
so-
docile, but yeah, you always have to be careful.
It's
Because
so, yeah. And then he also told us that Bubba has like a special gift with children who are autistic, or they have some kind of connection, maybe, you know, for the autistic children can really bond with animals or something. And he said that all these children would be, you know, they would be so enthusiastic and they would really like to take care of him. And he's only been bitten once, and that was when he was at a school fair, or not a school fair, but like a special sort of performance, or not performance, like something at a school he was showing Bubba. And there was this little kid who wanted to like go really close to his face, which is something you just, you know, you shouldn't do that. So he like put his hand in front of the kid, and then the kid bit his hand by accident. So he didn't get bitten by that.
well, even if
It was really
it's a
incredible.
domesticated alligator, I wouldn't advise you to just go there
Yeah.
and put your hand in front
No,
of
but it's crazy. Like he plays around. He lives with them in their house. He plays with their cats and dogs. Like he chases after the mailman, and the mailman is like, oh.
If I was the mailman, I would like
But
shit my pants everything, just like.
If it's the first time you see Bubba, then obviously you don't get really scared. Yeah, it was really cool. So I just wanted to share that.
From what you said, it's true that sometimes it happens. There are cases of people killed and eaten by crocodiles, but actually much fewer than one would think. I mean, you are twice as likely to be killed by a lightning than by a crocodile.
Oh, really?
If you look at statistics, yes. So it doesn't happen that.
Wait, a little kid like got pulled into the water.
Yeah, sometimes it
Yeah.
does happen because I mean.
But Florida,
They eat anything. So
yeah, I'm so scared.
I have a question. Just like from curiosity, why are you so interested in crocodiles? Like, what do you think is so fascinating about it?
American crocodiles. Well, they just.
Where does your interest come from?
Well, I can't even recall where it comes from. I was just a 4-year-old kid seeing watching documentaries about like crocodiles in Africa and stuff like that. I really like them because they are really some of the strongest animals in the world. Really, they also yeah, look at them. They basically look like living tanks with all this armor and giant mouth and potent muscles. So that's what I like the most about them. But also the fact that they are not the merciless killers you see in movies. Whenever you see movies about snakes, crocodile, 90% of the cases it's bullshit. But snakes, oh my god, snakes on plate, look at me start with that. Anyway, so that's the main thing. But also, as you said, it's not that unusual that people can actually get really close to crocodilians without getting serious injuries, especially if the crocodile was born and raised in captivity. Yeah, as I said, I myself was presented with a 1 meter long Nile crocodile in Egypt without any ties and whatever, and I held it. I even put it on my head. But it didn't do basically anything. It was just there moving its head around a couple of times.
Yeah.
That was it. But still, you need to be very
Yeah, of
careful
course.
because it's not like holding a puppy. I mean,
Cool. Any more questions? If not, thank you, Lorenzo, for your presentation.
yes.